James Cockman, World News Report today, April 17th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. In breaking news, we have a Minnesota Republican state representative demanding the arrest of Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. Again, she is a representative in the House here in the United States, and I believe that she represents Somalia, not the U.S., as she has often indicated. But there's so many other things that she's done that's illegal, like marry her brother to get him into the country, and the list goes on. I'm going to allow this gentleman to talk to you about why she needs to be taken off the streets immediately and kind of run through all of the crimes that me or you would be under the jail for right now, like tax fraud, like immigration fraud, federal student loan fraud. We have perjury, bigamy, incest, kickbacks, you name it. This goes on and on and on. All she's done is broken laws since she's been here, and she needs to pay the same price that any American citizen, like she thrives to be, has to pay. Ready to pay the price?
The U.S. House Committee on Foreign Affairs. I'm also asking Congresswoman Craig to initiate an ethics investigation into Congresswoman Omar because of questions about federal tax fraud, federal immigration fraud, federal student loan fraud, and state violations of perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and acts of campaign fraud abuse in Boston, Washington, New York, Chicago, and Florida. There are also violations of state ethics or of the Minnesota House ethics rules regarding colleges for speeches she gave while she was in partial control of their budgets as a member of the House Higher Education Finance Committee in both 2017 and 2018. She was found guilty of violations by the Minnesota Campaign Finance Board 3 weeks ago in order to return those funds on June 6th. Ms. Omar appears to be a serial career criminal and should not have access to our nation's highest secrets and intelligence. That is why I'm calling on our Congresswoman Angie Craig to protect both our national security and our respect of the rule of law. Tax fraud, immigration fraud, student loan fraud, perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and campaign abuse fraud from the East Coast to the Mississippi River. If those charges have been brought against Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, the Star Tribune would not have said on Sunday that she was attempting to, quote, skirt the law, and then follow up with a front page story the next day on a pie-in-the-sky proposal that had zero chances of becoming law. Minnesota deserves better. America demands more. I'm presenting you with a copy of my letter and just a sampling of the materials available to you on these topics, and we'll take your questions. Here's a sampling of materials that I have offered you today. Anybody who would like them, there's many more of this available all over social media and in printed publicity and elsewhere. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take your questions.
Mr. Representative, why are you asking Angie Craig, Congresswoman Craig, to open this ethics investigation? Unless I'm missing something, I think she's on the Transportation and Agriculture Committee.
Yeah, she's my congresswoman. I'm from the 2nd District. That seems to me to be the best place to ask your elected representative to represent you in forming an ethics investigation.
Oh, so are you doing this as an individual citizen of Minnesota, or are you doing this as representative?
Well, I'm doing it as both. I'm a constituent of hers, and I am asking her as a constituent and presenting it here today as a state representative, but asking her as a constituent to bring forward an ethics investigation. I could ask Nancy Pelosi, but she doesn't represent me. Congresswoman Craig does.
Are you only allowed to ask someone who represents you? The reason I'm asking is, I mean, you own the party of the congresswoman, and
I mean, you could ask any member of Congress. Angie Craig is my U.S. House of Representative, my U.S. Congresswoman, and because of that, she is the one that made most sense to me to ask to represent me and represent this pursuit of justice and respect for the rule of law.
And I must say this is just an attempt to embarrass her or put her in a tough position as opposed to just getting the job done by going and asking a Republican congressperson to pursue the
Yeah. Well, this is not about Congresswoman Craig. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about an avenue for me to bring forward these questions and get it in front of the U.S. House of Representatives.
What's the history of these such a request for investigations? Does Congress respond to them?
I believe some of them they do. Some may find it superficial and don't. I haven't really dug into that myself, but I expect and have heard that they receive a lot of requests. Certainly, I don't know that many of them or all of them contain the level of importance or the level of detail and information available that this already does.
Are you expecting more information to come out related to some of the questions you raised here in this topic?
I am. As a matter of fact, I talked to one of the people, David Steinberg, who has done a lot of the work. You will see his blog posts in here that have the social media that some of you in the Minnesota media have referred to. And if I can be critical, somewhat dismissed because it wasn't something that you found, but something that he found. Incidentally, as soon as David and Scott Johnson and Priya did their work, and I know this for sure with David, he took the screen captures of these social media accounts and then formed a blog post, offered Representative Omar comment before he published the blog post, heard nothing back from her, published the post, and shortly after the post was published, either, depending on the situation, either her image on social media or Ahmed Elmi's image was removed from their respective social media accounts. And I think that's important for you in the media to note as you try to discern what motives are and where the truth lies.
What's the end game here?
Well, I think the end game is to find answers. The answers have not been pursued. We're starting to see them be pursued. The national media is really starting to kick it into gear. I thank the Star Tribune for their effort recently, although it was not the level of inquiry that many people wanted and expected. It was a great start. And so I think the end game is for us to bring about visibility to this in a way that the people of Minnesota and the people of America can find answers to what appears to be a sham marriage that Representative Omar had with Ahmed Elmi from 2009 to 2017.
Should Congresswoman Craig dismiss or ignore your letter? What's your next step in there? Any other plans, any other attempts to maybe refer this on to other agencies or officials?
Well, one idea that I heard was actually from a Democrat. And by the way, I've heard from Democrat colleagues in the House that are thanking me for my efforts to pursue this because they have the same concerns I do. I want you to know that. I'm not going to name names. But one of those Democrats offered to me that what then Representative Ellison did when he was running for office last year, and there was questions about his situation with his wife, is he offered, you know what? I will ask for an ethics investigation upon myself. And I think maybe a call from the media, a call from me, or a call from someone to say, Representative Omar, if you don't think that these things, that there's problems here, do as your predecessor did. Ask for an investigation of yourself and clear your name. I think that would be a great inquiry.
The theory is that the sham marriage was needed to help him or her.
We're not completely sure. There's a bunch of, you look at the tax fraud probable cause that exists from the June 6th campaign finance stuff. I mean, probable cause is right there for tax fraud, federal and state. You can't deny that. But I think you need to go and first of all find out more about the marriage and start to get more people involved in digging through this stuff. The questions about, people brought up questions about immigration. Did it somehow help Ahmed Elmi or someone come here illegally or easier or get special preference? There's questions about FAFSA. Incidentally, the marriage between Ahmed Elmi and Representative Omar occurred in 2009. As I understand, that was the first year that they both attended North Dakota State together, and during that 2 or 3 or 4 years at North Dakota State, there were at least 2 instances at 2 different addresses that Representative Omar, Ahmad Hersey, and Ahmad Elmi all lived at the same address. I think that should be interesting.
Is that a real address or a post box?
I can't recall. There were 2 different ones in 2 different points in time. So evidently they may have moved to a different street address or something.
Representative, have you contacted Representative Craig to let her know that this was coming, or she just...
I have not, and I haven't talked to Representative Omar about it either. I know that was a question last year when I brought up the fact that Representative Omar was taking money from 3 different 3 different state higher education institutions directly in conflict with Minnesota House rules, which she eventually then returned those thousands of dollars to them, realizing that she was wrong in doing that. But I was asked by the media last year that very same question.
Let me ask you, I know that at one point the then U.S. Attorney Andy Lugar made it clear in a statement that he was not investigating, the federal government was not investigating Ilhan Omar. Also, I believe that the State Campaign Finance Board has the ability to refer items to criminal jurisdictions. Obviously, the investigators, the IRS, the federal government, they're pretty aggressive and they're pretty good. It doesn't appear that they're honest at all. Does that say anything to you?
Well, the Campaign Finance Board does do criminal referrals about campaign finance related items, and if you'll read the Campaign Finance Board's findings and orders from June 6th, you'll realize as they form their context out for it that they limited their approach to items that concern campaign finance and didn't, as a matter of fact, they didn't even see the tax forms.
Right, but they didn't feel that the campaign finance portion of this reached a criminal element, in their opinion.
Well, she broke the law and she's paying the money back.
Right.
Folks, this guy needs to get on television and he needs to refer all of his information, copies of all of his information, to a real law enforcement agency, or better yet, several law enforcement agencies.
She broke the law.
Right, but I guess I'm just wondering, it appears that people who do have access, obviously, the U.S. Attorney, the Campaign Finance Board that regularly can refer items to criminal entities or criminal investigators, they've had access to this, and we haven't done that yet. I mean, are they remiss in their actions?
I think we all are. I think they are, I think you are, I think I am. I think we all need to pursue justice and truth here. And that's why I'm here today. Another exhibit's in your packet, the question of perjury. This isn't the best copy, but this is Representative Omar's, I'll just call it, it's called Application for Order for Service by Alternate Means. So, as I understand it, Representative Omar approached the court and tried to get the divorce in 2017 from Ahmed Elmi without actually having him there. And in order to do that, she testified under perjury twice in here that she hadn't seen or heard of Ahmed Elmi since 2011. And you'll find in your packet too, and Preya Samsadar, I still struggle with her last name, had this brought forward, as I understand, in 2016. This is the affidavit of service of the eviction notice for Ahmed Noor Said Elmi in 2012, a year after she said she had last heard from him, less than 10 blocks from where she lived in Minneapolis.
Representative, you say that our national security is at stake. Would you outline for Minnesotans, and you're making some allegations in other areas, but specifically, how is our national security at stake here?
If you talk to the police, they will tell you that a person's past behavior is the best indicator of their future behavior. Best predictor of their future behavior is their past behavior. I have laid out for you to represent Omar's past behavior.
And she's claimed to represent Somalia, not the United States. Let's run this thing up the flagpole, folks. This one should have been arrested long ago. What a complete mess and joke. Please let me have your thoughts in the comments below. Please share our video. And always remember that anything's possible in Bizarro World.